Let's start our afternoon session. I hope that you had good lunchtime with nice conversations. Yes? Yes. And you are not too sleepy? No? Okay. Well, let's start then. We will have a panel discussion right now. Okay, and I lost my screen, but okay. And I would like to introduce our guests. And first one on right side is Anna-Greta Tsahkna. Anna-Greta is CEO in Teambetter and also founder. Am I right? Yes. And Teambetter is a forest tech company, worldwide company, in 50 different countries. She's a big player. And she's also vice president, yeah? Vice president on the Estonian IT and Telecommunications Association. The next one is Kristi Klaas. Kristi is Deputy Secretary General on Green Transition, Ministry of Climate. And Kristi has been also coordinator for the climate law. Now this law has a new name, yeah? Now new version is Climate Resilient Economy Act. And this act is on its way. Not adopted yet, but I'm sure that Kristi will tell about that a bit. And then our own Katrin Männik. Katrin is a researcher and on sustainable education and head of Estonian Center of Baltic University Partnership. And I can tell you that if we succeeded something here in Tallinn University on the field of sustainability, then I have had always a very big help from her side. And last but not least, Veiko Karu, Associate Professor on Raw Materials Circularity from Estonian Business School. This is our only private university here in Estonia. Well, welcome you all. When we started this morning, then in my opening remarks, I highlighted several media headlines that characterize the present moment and essentially suggest sweeping the whole green issue under the carpet. In short, this could be summed up with a headline like green issues facing a test of legitimacy. What is your perspective? How do you see from your point of view? Who would like to start?
I could gladly start.
Please go ahead.
Hello also from my side. It's very nice to be here. And so nice to hear so many people really interested in the topic. So yeah, about the sustainability coverage in media recently. I just arrived from Brussels. I landed 1 hour ago, and we had Environment Council meeting in Brussels, where all the European member states were discussing the future of climate policy and the sustainability issues in general. And what I can say that nothing actually has changed. The only thing what has changed, if I compare the time, 5 years ago when the European Commission presented the Green Deal, the only thing what has happened is that the member states around the table are questioning more about the substance of green transition and climate policy. They are asking, okay, if we set these targets, for example, for the year 2035, how we are really are going to achieve them. I remember back then when we adopted the Green Deal at the European level, then nobody was actually questioning. So it was more about setting the targets, setting or seeing the ambition, but nobody questioned or even asked how we are going to achieve those targets. And now if we have approached to the stage where really countries already have the experience how to implement these policies, they know what works and what doesn't, then they are also revising certain regulation in order to, to make it more, let's say, practical in everyday life. And I think we should take it as a normal process and a normal evolution of the topic. But what I do feel truly is that the long-term goal is still there. We know that we need to reduce our impact on the climate and on the environment, and we need to see what we need to do in different sectors, how to really do that. So I think nothing has really changed.
Yeah, maybe to just kind of follow up from here, and we were discussing before the panel that maybe the problem is that we are too much on the same page, so I would like to be a bit provocative as well. So yeah, things haven't maybe changed in the EU side, but they have changed definitely around the world. And just to bring you an example, half a year ago I attended a conference. And it was a large conference which a couple of years ago launched this kind of ESG framework with Ernst & Young. So you can imagine that everything which was related to ESG was important. But now there was a guy on the stage who presented very proudly that he has joined the company or a venture capital company that is totally anti-ESG. So they do investments into companies that will make America great again. And for example, one of their latest investments was into a company like Grab a Gun. So it's Amazon for guns. And this guy was Trump Jr. So unfortunately, what we've seen happening after the start of the Ukrainian-Russian war and also the new presidency of Trump has changed the world around us. And I really I'm worried that it's becoming very much of this kind of political or like polarization topic, and some of these political parties see a great advantage in a sense to be questioning all the green agenda in EU. So it's not really kind of a science-based approach, but it's more of this populistic approach how to gain votes. And I'm very glad that Kristi said that actually the agenda hasn't changed, because we have to keep calm and keep doing what we do. And I think the main thing is to keep the agenda, so keep the focus and moving towards the agenda.
Thank you. I would like to remind, but okay, we can be in the same boat. You are in the same boat, probably we are in the same boat, but I really quoted Estonian media, and also what I did actually, I helped to compare the media 10 years ago and now, and there is a difference. There is much more polarization, and there are this green path is much more questioned in media than it was 5 or 10 years ago, and the general tone has changed. Now it's much more tense, polarized, driven by urgency, and also emphasis who pays. This wasn't the case, let's say 10 years ago. But our response to that, I mean the university university's response, or Estonian university's response, one of the responses was to organize this Green Week. But we have now, and one of the events is just now going on. But of course, there are different ways to respond that. But now I would like to give a floor, maybe first to our guest. Please.
Yes.
Veiko.
So I would like define that in that way that because my background is in engineering, so I'm also like I'm thinking like engineers that you will have like the technology, but for the technology you need like raw materials, and then you have to think that where you get, like source from them, or where you like source your equipment to build like the best or greener technologies, which is like will give the impact in the future. And I've seen also the discussion like in EU level that actually EU like importing all the important raw materials. That means that we are relying on our connections with other worlds. So we have to also like be polite with all the people around us, but to have the like the connections in political level. And I see the like opportunity here that this is also one way for the universities that in Estonia especially that they can easily like put this kind of like international relations like fingerprint on the curriculums, because we are still like a very small country here. We have like very little people here, but we are doing the good things. Like we can like refer that we have like 11 unicorns in Estonia. So we have really like having the smart people here, but to change that in the bigger scale, we have to like cooperate with other countries inside in Europe, but also like with US, with Canada, with Africa, Australia, and other countries, because they have like more people. But if they see that here in Estonia we have really good solution, then yeah, why not to like implement that also in like other countries as well. So this is like the like small thing to like have this kind of also this kind of international touch for every like curricula. That we are not building the products or services just for Estonia, but we are like building those to the global market. And we have like the good example also in here in Panel, because the timber is also like, it's not for Estonian forestry, but it's like the global forestry. And there's also like other examples there. Because currently, I remember that in Tallinn University of Technology, they have like implemented this kind of like entrepreneurial mindset into like bachelor curriculums and master curriculums, that they can see the opportunities, how we can change, how we like act in the company level, or when we are like doing the like work for the corporates as well. So thank you.
Okay, I am trying to make it more provocative, not to feel that everything is okay and we are all in the same quote. Before I give the word to my good colleague, I would like to quote one environmental scientist, Asko Lõhmus, and he said that environmental scientists, at least those who truly engage with their field, often present the reality that feels more like a troubling nightmare. Do you agree? Is it nightmare we have now?
As I am optimist, I don't think so. But yes, thank you. I think that Estonia has a sustainability strategy for a long time. And as you mentioned that during last 10 years, things have been changed, and also discussions in media have been changed a lot. Maybe this sustainability theme was kind of quiet topic in earlier times, but really last 10 or even more years, it's really very alive. But at least I feel that it's not a nightmare, but it's a normal part of our life. And I myself by education economist, and now I am here in this sustainability field, but this is horizontal topic, and I think also polarization also coming because people come from so different fields, and they have different opinions. And it's said about sustainability that it is complex and we need time. We have different people, we have different aims, but we should have some agreement on the same mission. And one more aspect for beginning, I don't think sustainability is only climate problem. It's wider, more extensive. It stands on people, our understandings, our environments where we live as parents, as citizens, or as part of communities. So I think this community aspect is really very, very important in this sustainability area. Also in conditions where we have so many crises, unexpected crises.
Thank you. Let's go now to the role of the universities. And first of all, I would like to ask Anna-Greta and Kristi, how do you see the role of scientists and the universities?
So I can start maybe. Well, to be very straightforward, I would like to that the universities would carry this kind of the voice of ground truth. So what is actually the truth? But of course, as I remember from my master thesis, then when the professor introduced me, he said, well, you need to understand that scientists are always like one-handed. So on one hand, the scenario can be like this. On the other hand, it can be like that. So for them, it's sometimes very hard to say what is the actual truth. But you asked earlier about this media. So I would say that during the last 10 years, we also seen that you get very different positions from the different universities about the same questions. And as a citizen, I'm pretty disturbed by that, because I would rather want that people, scientists, agree on one thing. Of course, it's maybe a bit too naive, but at the same time, if there's like so much distraction, so much information available, you want to have this kind of science-based ground truth. So what I see is that universities play a very important role, but I think there is a bit too much impact on the different, how to say, in Estonian we call it koolkonnad, or
generations, groups, streams.
Yeah. So basically, you would need more this kind of, let's say, communication or interaction in between. And I have a very practical experience from Chile. So we work there with a lot of deforestry, and what did they do? They put together the environmentalists and also the people who were studying forestry management. And actually the results were quite surprising, because many of the people who wanted to study environmentalism actually ended up in the forestry management. And these two groups were starting to talk the same language. And I think in small Estonia, this is sometimes the problem, that we are very opinionated, but all the groups talk a different language. So maybe it would make sense to have some kind of exchange between the students in different universities or with the different faculties to start to understand each other better.
I will
Excuse me, before you start, please feel free, ask also questions. This is not only me who should do that. And Kristi, please go ahead.
I will add from another angle, and I think afterwards it will be interesting to discuss on these aspects as well. Sustainability in general is a very complex structure. Let's put it that way. I remember from my own experience from some years ago. I had to draft a plan for the government. So what does it mean that we need to do at the government level in each and every sector in order to be sustainable? So in energy sector, in transport, in agriculture, in public governance, etc. And it was extremely difficult to do that. First of all, you have so many different actors, so many different policies, financial flows, and so on and so on. And what the experience really shows is that you cannot solve all these issues on your own. You need to cooperate, and you cannot cooperate only between ministries or between universities or between companies, but you need to create those partnerships between those different levels and different groups. And I think I've always been inspired by one of the examples I heard from Amsterdam city government. And for example, they let's say when they want to solve different problems in the city environment. So what do is that, for example, they announced that we have in this area this specific problem, let's say with the traffic or with the safety of the people, or whatever problem they might have. And then they invite private companies, universities, and government participants to solve that problem. So everyone can benefit and contribute from different angles. And I'm truly convinced that these kind of solutions truly help. So the question there just is that how can we assure that those good solutions really aren't only the pilot projects which will be implemented in different cities or in different neighborhoods, but those really will be embedded into systems and to create a systematic change. But yeah, the role of scientists is essential about climate. For example, if we start with that, is that the scientists have given us a really good, let's say, basis based on which we can create different policies and the next steps. And the same thing is also about the other areas. And without that, without having concrete data analysis, impact assessments, possible interconnections between different policies, we wouldn't be able to implement the policies as such.
Thank you.
Yes, universities collaborate, and I think on this topic, step by step, things are going. But even in one organization, you have like almost 1,000 people, half of them researchers, everybody in their own research field performing. But exactly this kind of conferences like we have today, they help to a little bit summarize or collect ideas and also to talk to people. That's why we also have different formats of event. For universities, they have a really good power in sustainability because more than 30,000 adult learners annually come here, over 7,000 students in Tallinn University, 1,000 employees, lots of guests who are coming and going. So I think how we behave, what we are doing here, it's extremely important. We have also good examples, Sustainera project, which is also collaborating for this conference. where a new research group is formed, lots of new PhD students and postdocs working together at different levels, individuals, organizations, state level. But it takes all time until you get to this right research question, you get good collaborative partners, and so on. So it takes time, but we should still continue in the same direction.
Thank you. Before I give the floor to Veiko, Katrin mentioned some figures. You should keep in mind that Estonia is a very small country. 1,000 people in one organization, this is a very big organization. We have 1.3 million people, inhabitants live here. All the figures are here small. Well, Veiko, go ahead, please.
Yes, I would just want to add that all the regulation actually is implemented in the legislation, and also the teachers and researchers following that in the universities in different research groups. Doesn't matter, it's the civil engineering or mechanical engineering. And the universities in Estonia have built also different entrepreneurial programs for the students. They are also open for the foreign or exchange students who are coming here with the Erasmus exchange, and through that actually they getting this kind of experience that how in the project development phase, how the student with their idea implementing the sustainability goals into the project, and the project can be better product, better this what I'm holding here, or better service for the customers. And there's also the competitions for those ideas, and there's definitely always the question that how sustainable is your production behind that product, and or what are the measures that you are making to understand when it is sustainable, when it's not sustainable. So these are the questions that we ask from the students when they are competing with each other, and they have the group work behind that. So I would say in that way the Estonian universities also supporting that the ideas what is coming from the universities through the student projects or research projects by the researchers. They're definitely covering the sustainability aspects there, and also showing that how it makes the impact in the near future and also in the bigger frame.
Thank you. And once more, I would like to call you. Oh yeah, question, please. Please wipe a mic because we are recording.
Thank you very much. I think
It's working.
It's working.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't hear myself, so I have a question regarding the cooperation between the public and private sector and the universities. Can you give me an example of how you collaborate, or if you don't, what would be desires or wishes? Where do you see a fruitful collaboration for sustainability? Thank you.
And yeah, let's start from the guests. What about your experience with the universities?
I could give one example from Estonia. It's the Center of Smart Cities, which is located in Tallinn Technical University, and they are collaborating with University of Aalto from Finland, and also there are different researchers then working together on the same topic. But it's not only about science. What they have aimed for is that when they are developing different solutions for city environments, how to become more sustainable, and then how those projects would really get or find their way into being implemented in real life situations. So they have, under this center, they have different programs where also the scientists work together with different startups in order to implement those those, let's say, those solutions which have been developed at the universities into concrete products which could be implemented right away. This is one of the examples, for example, where international cooperation has been encouraged, and also the cooperation between academia and enterprises. And so now, where the let's say the demand needs to come from local governments, right? So it means that also local governments, they first of all, they need to be, they must be aware that such a program exists. Then there needs to be enough finances in order, first of all, to finance this center, the work of this center, but also to finance the projects to get implemented at the local level. And you need to have this continuity so that it wouldn't be just one time initiative, but how you would implement it in a let's say more sustainable way. So this is one of the examples, but I'm sure we have more.
What about your ministry?
Our ministry, we do see a lot of potential in working with different universities in collaboration. At the moment, I think the biggest working streams are different analysis and impact assessments that we are publicly tendering, so that the universities could be and would be very encouraged to participate. And for example, they're one of the best examples that I have from recent years is that we didn't have only one-time tender, for example, to receive a specific analysis, but we had a bigger program, let's say, or the consortium framework program, where different universities were the partners. Let's say it was about the climate policy and the needs about the climate policy, and it meant basically that if different ministries had different questions related to that specific area, then they had quick access to this framework program, and also the universities could provide their knowledge and input to the work. It was, I think, one of the best examples I could give. And what we have discussed with the universities as well is that how to combine really sustainability into different curricula. So we might have very good energy system professionals, engineers, but if they don't know for which reasons we are really rethinking all the energy systems and what kind of threats we might have, then we wouldn't get really the solutions that the society needs. And I think all these examples we can give from all areas of work or all areas of research at the universities, not mentioning social sciences, then engineering, political studies, including social sciences. So I think there is a need to introduce the basic understanding or the basic education or knowledge into different curricula.
And in our case, probably the most important, educational sciences. Yeah. Okay, Anna-Greta.
Yeah, so as a company, Timbetter cooperates with more than 20 universities worldwide, and there's a very pragmatic reason behind that, because we really want to help to educate the future foresters with the new technologies. And what we've seen as well, that these young people actually take this knowledge to their workplace later on. So it has been, for us, this kind of very clear path that how to get into large enterprises. It might be this youngster who was attending some of the sessions where our technology was being introduced, and they bring it to the large companies. To bring an example from Estonia, for example, how these different stakeholders are cooperating, then we have Enterprise Estonia, who is also supporting the, let's say, innovativeness inside the Estonian companies. And we are, for example, part of the program where 10 companies with very different size, like you have a large telecommunication company, you have large hospital, you have Tallinn Harbor, for example. All of the companies put together their innovation strategy. And one of the sessions what we had there is meeting with the different universities to discuss how universities can help to build innovation inside the companies and how to deliver the results quicker. So I would say that this is this kind of very pragmatic approach, and attending all of these sessions, it was also interesting for me to see the different universities, what kind of capabilities they have, what kind of researches they are conducting. So it was a very this kind of simple way to start collaboration.
Thank you. Maybe about bad practice also, because this might teach us even more. Do you have examples?
Yeah, of course
Challenges.
I have. Of course I have. I would say that the biggest, differentiator is time. So the meaning of time for a startup, for a company, for the university. And startup can easily die within 1 month, but sometimes universities require that they want to make research for a couple of years. And of course...
at least one semester.
At least once a semester, yeah, once a semester. So it is sometimes difficult to align, but I think as well that the more we come out and address these issues and clearly say that what is possible and what is not, then it's easier to conduct this collaboration. And for me, I'm still very optimistic in that regard, that there is a possibility to find these new innovative ways and really to take something which has been kind of investigated on the scientific level for years and years and then put it into practice. So in case of Estonia, what I would also like to see a bit more of this kind of successful spin-offs from the universities, so where you put this research into a real practice.
Okay, and now is your turn, universities.
I can start with this idea that the majority of the funds which gives the funding for the research projects or development projects, they're already asking that you should have covered this kind of knowledge triangle. That means that it's not like only one university should apply the grant, but it's also already the consortium that you're covering the university side, then the research and development organization side, and then the private companies, which is actually implementing the research in reality, because the private companies can really learn how to develop their products, come up with the new products, and I would say this is the only way to have this kind of collaboration between the university research organization and companies, that you have already written in the core text that you have to be in part of the consortia that you're covering this kind of knowledge triangle. And then it's also the learning curve in both sides. It's learning from the university researchers, because they are really going narrow down with their topic, but then they suddenly kind of thinking that what is the businesses are doing, why are they doing it in that way, and then they're also learning that. And it's also the vice versa from the company side, that in the end the companies can also understand what mean to be the researcher, what are the time constraints there, what are the the working path on that, and then also that the company side can understand that why it's taking not like 2 weeks, but it takes 1 month or even 2 months to like getting the proper results from the researcher side. But yeah, if those like working consortiums are like working not only in one project, or they have also like this like other things, then the knowledge is also growing in those consortiums. And then yeah, I can see that there's like next ones are like more successful because they already knowing how the like each party is working.
So I can add that collaboration really goes at very different levels, and but main challenges are really to agree on next month's expected results. This is most important. And we also have once a case when researchers were more quick than a company. So it may also happen vice versa, but I think everything starts what you agree in the beginning, what you expect, what is the budget and so on. But for this kind of limitations, we very much prefer such framework programs, what Kristi mentioned. Tallinn University also participated in this framework program of climate policy research support, and we very much appreciate it also from our university. So it's up to planning a lot. So some examples, as you also asked, recently our researchers helped to create financing behavior model for Clarity OÜ, it's a company. Our researchers from natural sciences helped, for instance, to make a research, some study how to launch it. Or second good example is, it's really related to sustainable product development. Our natural cosmetics company, Berici, is working together with our researchers for maybe 10 years already, helping to make recipes, helping to make pre-studies, and I also have been one of testers. So there are very single examples, also thanks to our support agencies of Estonia, but also some networking events, framework programs, but there are always a question how you plan it, because one person in university is a teacher, researcher, collaborator, and so everything in one.
I just want to add also that in Estonia we have those like research excellence centers. It's around like 10 of those, and there's also like the top researchers in their field, and they also like the top companies on that field, and they have already like secured like the funding for 7 years, so they're working already. Because those like projects started like 2 years ago, and yeah, they're like can implement the learnings already in upcoming like new course as well.
I remembered one really good example. Additionally, is here someone from France?
Yeah. Yes.
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 Yeah.
In the morning we had.
Because when we working in the ministry, we always, we have a saying in Estonian that you don't have to develop your own bicycle if someone has developed it already. So we always look for good examples abroad. In France there is a really good example how to really create these kind of collaborations we were just talking about. For example, they have developed 12 different missions they want to achieve by 2035 in relation with sustainability. So I remember 2 of them at the moment. So one of them was France wants to be the first country who will develop an airplane which is capable of flying CO2 free. Or the other mission was that France wants to be a country where they produce 30 million electric cars by 2035. And what it basically means is that based on this, they have created a financing system where you can apply for a bigger amount of money for, let's say, which is foreseen for 5 or 6 years, and you are forced to combine different partners in order to be able to apply for that. So you need to have bigger enterprises, smaller companies. You need to have researchers. You need to have different universities. You have to build skills, etc., etc. And it means that you need to bring a certain result, and only then you can pay. You get paid, because someone told me someone told really well is that if you, let's say, give money only for research, for example, and you don't expect, okay, you can always have a result, an analysis or an impact assessment or whatever, but the question will always be, so how to fill the gap between knowledge and implementation. So this kind of financing scheme actually forces you to have a practical result as well. So based on this, and you mentioned at the beginning, Katrin, as well, that we are developing our National Climate Resilient Economy Act. And there we are trying to introduce these kind of financing plans so that these different missions could really be implemented by 2035 or by 2040, based on different areas. We are working on this, and we will present it to the politicians as well, and we'll see what the result will be. But this example from France was really inspiring.
Well, thank you. Probably at this table we are not going to dream about airplanes. But what are the key levers within your own organization? And what kind of impact do you see in the future?
Well, for us, we definitely see that we are ahead of time, but that's completely normal. So we see that the trends or regulation which are related to the forestry definitely are becoming more stricter, and therefore you need more precision on every level. And this is why we are working very hard to literally count each and every tree that is growing, and knowing as well in the supply chain how much carbon is being captured and what is the origin. So we see a lot of things that can be done. I think as well, like if you talk about sustainability, then Estonia is quite a good place to be. And I think we have this tree hugging in our DNA somehow. And as well, I think we haven't been really rich to, let's say, throw away the things. So rather you always reuse, you kind of repair rather than buy new things. And it's not only my understanding, but a year ago there was an event for the tech companies and defense companies. There were 40 selected out of Europe, and 10 companies were green tech companies, and they were all from Estonia. And then we were discussing, so what's the reason behind that, why there's so much green tech actually coming from Estonia? And I think this is partly of our tree-hugging DNA. Second thing is also that the digital transformation what Estonia has gone through is also something that helps to reduce or to have a bigger handprint compared to the footprint. And then if we consider these examples, what we have, for example, that if we need to give a signature for the notary, we don't need to drive anywhere, but everything can be done from the office. So how many parking places we have not built? So, for example, so it's this digital transformation has actually a wider impact. So I think many other countries could really follow the Estonian example as well. And if you consider as well the COP31 that we are not having soon, Then last year, the climate conference also had a special day which was dedicated for the digitalization, so kind of showing as well the importance of digitalization in the sustainability. So yeah, I would say that these trends are favoring what we do, but again, like the question is how to scale, and to scale on the wider area, and to really put into practice all of these good ideas and good solutions which are already on the market.
Okay, please.
Yes, I can see education and research collaboration good tools for giving larger impact by universities. And for instance, this spring it's good to share new e-learning materials which have been supported by Minister of Education and Youth and Board of Estonia, where all Estonian universities but also other educational institutions prepared extremely lots of new materials on sustainability competence building, so it will be published quite soon. And maybe important is here that these modules can be used by any of teachers also in other universities. So if we have prepared anything, also other university teachers can use on their own courses. I think this is maybe one solution for collaborating between universities and other educational institutions. And as Veiko mentioned also, research funding is very much like mission oriented, or already in eligibility criteria tell you that you should collaborate with very different stakeholders. So I think this funding criteria of EU Estonia will very much impact us as university next years. Katrin knows these numbers better, but a big stake of our university's funding comes from projects. It's project-based funding. Yeah.
Let's say so that half is coming from the state, even a bit more is coming from research projects. Yeah, although we are public university.
Yes, and this lifelong learning part, which we have been working a lot with Katrin, it's increasing last 10 years, lots of increase on it, very interdisciplinary, maybe programs are longer, not these short courses, but longer programs, more adult learners, and coming also for micro-credential programs that we didn't mention this today, but this has been extreme development of our university last years.
Yeah, we during the last 5 years we tripled the volume of our trainings. Well, but last but not least,
Yes, thank you.
Estonian Business School.
It's been mentioned that in Estonian university have like those lot of those online courses. Yes, it's true, and our university is also part of different like university alliance. That is also like the bigger consortium with 8 to 10 universities in Europe, and those online courses are also like shared with the other universities. So actually, also like the European universities can learn from our Estonian like digitalization on the e-learning platforms, e-courses, and yeah, these e-courses are just also like the subjects for the bachelor teaching or master level teaching, but it's also usable in the executive education and also like the lifelong learning for the professionals, because in the professionals usually also need to have this like working certificate. If they're working in the like the engineering company, then they have to like also doing the lifelong learning courses during 5 years or during 7 years, around I would say like 80 to 100 credit points to like really like keep the certificate that they can continue the work in the company. And from Estonian Business School side, we also building our like venture studio. That means that we will test different products and services on site with our students. We educate like the future leaders that what is meaning to like fail in the first. They will get like this kind of like feeling that they are not like afraid that. And when they after graduation like going to work in the small and or bigger companies, then they understand what they should be, or how they should act as a leader to really like build the companies which is give the impact in the future. And of course the sustainability is one of the key on that. Yes, that's what
Thank you. Maybe the audience have now a question or couple. Yes, please. Wait a minute. Amy is running already.
Thank you. My question is really, we talk about universities as change agents, but I mean, we also educate the people and have historically educated the people who have caused, to a large extent, the sustainability crisis that we are in now. So my question is, and I think we're pretty much in the same boat about what would need to change within universities, but my question is really, how deep do you imagine this change within universities themselves should be? Let's do a scale, a Likert scale of 1 being, no, we're good, and let's say 7 being, we need to change course yesterday. Thank you.
Well, I would say that there's no change needed within the universities. I think rather what happens like afterwards when these people are coming to the labor market. I think this is where the problem comes in. And I was just recently reading Estonian newspaper, and I was wondering how it comes that people who have never studied environmentalism or forestry tend to be or want to pretend that they are wiser actually. So how it is possible that the ones who didn't study environmentalism, that they are smarter compared to the ones who did study. And this is very much of this kind of, let's say, pragmatism, what is happening in real life. So the question is how to keep the students on the same track, that what they studied in the university they could also put into real life after the graduation. Because sometimes your ideal world collapses, you see this harsh reality and you need to give up your ideals. So I think that's sometimes this kind of hard part. I don't see a problem within the universities. I see problem in the later adaptation.
You gave a really good scale, so I would say that 6 would be my answer. And I didn't give 7 because I don't want to take the hope away. That's clear. However, I truly believe that the environmental education is the key, starting from kindergarten and then ending with the university, which means that the people also who teach and who do the research need to understand the basics. So why we are doing it and what kind of consequences that will it have. And I think we are not late because we are in transition at the moment. And I might jump back to the first question you raised, is that we do see that the rhetorics has changed. However, the transformation has evolved already so far that it's not possible to stop it anymore. So we will continue on this path. And the question is not about that the transition into greener world or more sustainable world is the problem. Every transition is difficult. It's not about going green, you know. When you imagine yourself, you know, you go to the office You're used to work under behind one desk, and then suddenly your boss tells you, okay, starting from today you will continue working in different building, etc. Even this change is difficult, right? Not imagining the transformation we are experiencing in the societies at the moment. So yes, I feel that universities need to change, but we are on our way, and we are not late.
I think we should change all, because if we go to these planetary indicators, of course, they are not good at all. But the more in universities we integrate practical tasks together with industry or third sector, for instance, we have life programs in Tallinn University. Students work from different fields for different partners. The more we understand, and the more we are ready when they go for labor market, or whether we will move to another sectors from university.
I think the key is here the lifelong learning, because if you compare like the small companies and little bit large companies, because the large companies have the HR people like organizing different trainings for the employees, but like the small companies, they usually don't have this person suggesting that you should take this course and learn something new that you can like implement in your life and our working life here. Yeah, I would say it's like lifelong learning is the key to like general understanding that you have to like learn new things, not only in the school. But
everything is okay. Don't be afraid. This is top of the roof of our building. Exercise.
That's the testing.
That's testing. Yeah.
That's testing. It's the panel is over time.
Yeah. Thank you so much, and thank you for your question. Working now 5 years with these questions at Tallinn University, yes, we all need to change. And looking at the mirror, I need to change too, of course. Thank you so much. Thank you, panelists.
Thank you.